All right. Good morning, folks. Let's see here. Excuse me. There we go. So let's pray before we get started today. Lord, thank you for all the blessings that you've been sending towards this project as of late. Um, Thank you for bringing the community together and helping us to work together and come up with a product that is uh, really as good as possible, Lord. Um, we ask that you once again help us to focus in this session, um, keep my mind um, focused and ready to work and all that stuff, Lord. But also help me to respond to the community. Um, Help us bless our conversations so that we can easily communicate with each other in positive and constructive ways, Lord. And help today to be productive. Thank you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. Good morning, Game Room and Critical Sid. Great to see you guys here. Let's get started. So, today, so it's taken me, I have to admit, it's taken me a little bit longer than I expected to do the image restructuring. But the good news is that all the boring pieces are done. So, we're into the visual um, GUI pieces, the visual interface pieces that we still need to do for the image restructuring. So what I'm looking at right now is the platforms, the added platform form, which defines all the folders. And we have, of course, restructured all the folders and such. And we got a lot more folders. So we need to change up the interface to allow people to select the various folders is where we're at right now. Good morning, K-Money. Um, so that's what we're going to tackle here first. I hope relatively quickly we can get this done, and then you guys are going to be able to see the new image structure, the folder structures, and all that kind of stuff. Um, and we can and we can discuss the migration and stuff like that. So of course, if anybody has any other ideas as far as what we should be tackling, working on, speak up, and we can take a look. All right. Hey, K Money. Actually, no. It's just that everybody who has, the huge mass influx of traffic that we had. We're still having an influx of traffic, but it's not as great as what we had over the weekend, of course. So basically, the everything is back to normal because I think we're a little higher than normal still, but we're not hitting that limit anymore like we were over the weekend. So that's why stuff is faster. However, tonight we're still uh, we're still doing the hardware or actually it's just a physical server move ultimately to connect up to different Ethernet connections in the server farm so that if that ever happens again, it won't be a slowdown. Yeah, it stayed up there well through Tuesday, well through yesterday, and just yesterday started coming down again. So we we're seeing seeing lots of traffic. Excuse me, but of course it's the imports that that take so much downloading. So the basically what was happening was people were still importing, and the imports are starting to wrap up, of course, and so that's what took the bandwidth down. Good morning, Rincewind. Good to see you. Morning, Quad. All right. So here we are. Basically, this is the. I haven't shown much of the Windows Forms stuff, but LaunchBox, I'm sure everybody can figure it out. LaunchBox it runs on Windows Forms. LaunchBox itself, and then BigBox, of course, runs on WPF. Um, but if we go into the Add Edit Platform form, this is what we're going to need to change visually for the folder changes. So basically, of course, this is the window that comes up when you go to Tools, Manage Platforms, and then you double-click or edit a platform. This is what comes up. And right now we have all these separate things going on here, and we're going to have to get rid of this because there's no way we're going to fit all the different folders that we need to have here. So what we are going to do instead is just delete all this, and I'm going to put in a grid to handle it all, I think. So, and the best example, the closest thing we have for that already is on the download images form. So rather than set a bunch of properties and worry about a bunch of stuff there, I'm just going to copy this one because this will help us work with something that's already decent quicker. We'll paste this in here and we'll get it positioned as best we can. And I'm going to set the anchor on this. It's already top, bottom, left, right, which means it'll resize when we resize the form, basically. All right. Now we're going to want to edit the columns here. Because obviously download media type and URL is not what we need here anymore. What we do need is we're going to need the name of the image type or the media type. So media type should be the first one, and it needs to not be a checkbox. We already have media type. Look at that. Okay. So media type is first. It's text box column, and it's read only. That's already there. That's great. And then this needs to be folder path instead. Folder path, and it should not be read only. And we should call this folder path data grid view text box column. And this guy should be called media type data grid view text box column. And then we need one more column here. This should be a button. And we're going to call this browse data grid view button column. This will be the browse buttons. Header text is browse, I guess. And yeah, it should be read only. Okay. Move that down. And I need to change this. I shouldn't be capitalized. What? Oh, come on. Whatever. I don't know what its issue is. Okay. We'll save this. There we go. All right, let's catch up on the comments here. Howdy ho! Howdy ho, Veltias, the Prince of Cats. Thanks a lot for your commitment to active development, Jason. You bet. You bet, absolutely. Great. Thanks for joining us. Veltias says, I just uploaded like 300 clear logos yesterday for NES. You're making that easier now. Oh. what, what do you mean exactly, Veltias? Are you talking about the Hyperspin forums as far as batch uploading? Good morning, Vissy. we're missing something's not visible. It looks like folder path probably isn't visible. There we go. And then the issue was sure, gotcha. Veltias. Yeah, to be completely honest with you, I haven't built that yet. I've been promising things, but I don't have anything built. I think I could have something built in an hour to do a batch upload, but the thing is, it's something I've got to do myself. In order for me to build something that's batch upload ready for the entire community, would be a lot more work. So if you have a package of clear logos that is A, pretty and good, and B, named by the name of the game or named by the name of the ROM file or something like that that's easy to import, and C, we have a license to be able to import them all. I'm not so worried. I'm not. It's a gray area. We all know that. It's hairy. If somebody from the community uploads a clear logo, it's impossible for me to tell where that clear logo came from, unfortunately, and that's kind of sad. I wish we had a better solution for that. But when it comes to me batch uploading a whole set of images, it better be uh, under a good license, or the author better be willing to let us do that. So FYI there. But yeah, especially media coming from Hyperspin. I've been asking the community that stuff there, and what they want to do is give us an API. But I'm still trying to feel out whether it would be appropriate or acceptable for for us to just batch upload the Hyperspin media to the LaunchBox Games Database. I'm not sure about that, and I don't want to do that unless we have their support in doing so, because that's the last thing we need is angry people from that front. So, anyways, yeah. And then the great thing about if I do a batch upload myself, then I'll skip the moderation process, of course. So, hey, Doughboy, welcome. But yeah, the as far as images in our database, we haven't really had a need for the clear logos in the past anywhere near as much as, I mean, we were displaying them in big box and stuff, but not they weren't as prominent in big box until we added the uh, the wheels, of course. So uh, the clear logos are probably the most lacking. And the other thing is, Emu Movies doesn't even have any clear logos in their images. So we definitely need more of them in the database, absolutely. And so I really appreciate anybody's effort to put those up there, because that will really help. Because right now our best suggestion is to go to the Hyperspin forums, download the right wheel set, and then just paste them into your images folders, which is a pain, of course. Oh yeah, I agree. No, there's no moderation required for the clear logos coming from Hyperspin. As a matter of fact, generally they're much better than the clear logos that we got originally from the GamesDB.net. So as a matter of fact, I would be. I mean, if we got permission from the Hyperspin community to do it, which honestly I'm not sure we are. I'm not sure we're going to get permissions to do this. But if we did get permission from the Hyperspin community to upload all their clear logo images for the wheels, or even for a particular platform, their images are higher quality than the stuff that we've got in there. So I would even delete everything we've got and dump all the Hyperspin stuff up. And the reason for that is, one thing I've noticed is the Hyperspin stuff, because it's already used in wheels. There have been people that have gone through and removed all the extra space, which causes problems with our wheels. So the Hyperspin images are the best images because they're already being used in that format, and they're already tweaked for that format. So that's pretty huge. Anyways, Veltias, I'm just uploading my optimized ones from Hyperspin, and as far as I know, all the Hyperspin ones were community contributed. Sure, sure. Yes, they were. And I'm not going to get after anybody for doing that one by one. If we do a batch upload, I want to make sure that that we have the permission to do so. It'd be cool to get their game themes too. Yeah, they have a lot of awesome stuff. And once they I was recently, just in the last week, introduced to. They have a Hyperspin Media API, which and I haven't played with it. I don't know how easy it's gonna be to integrate or anything like that. It's not an immediate priority, but um, they provide all the images for free via the API. So I'll be looking to add that at some point here. Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, good to know, Valtias. I'll keep that in mind for NES. That sounds cool. Yeah. I hear you, Game Room. I hear you. All right, so back to the grid here. We're going to want to resize these columns a little bit, I expect. Excuse me. And I think we've got to do that. Basically, the browse column width, I'm going to set that to 80, so it's half as big. And hopefully that'll, whoops, what just happened? Fill weight, that's what it is. Let's set it to 60. There we go. That's looking better. Why does it keep telling me to save the resource X file? That's really strange. Hyperspin setup isn't easy, Doughboy, that's for sure. Great to hear. All right. So, now that we have the grid, we have to change the code behind it to populate the grid with all the different folders, and then let you set browse for them and all that stuff. So we got a lot of code to change here in the back end of this form, and then once we get everything saving and loading for the folders in the platforms and add a platform, all that's left is we do need some kind of migration process, unfortunately. And what I'm thinking for that is you load up the first time you load up LaunchBox or BigBox, I think it's just going to rename folders is all it's going to do, because the only differences are, well, I can show you here. So my LaunchBox folder, this has a combination of things right now. But say this Windows folder, this is what things are going to look like. And you'll notice we still have, I still have, for example, front, which is the old folder, and that becomes ultimately box front. Now it's not going to be perfect when we rename the folders, because there's going to be stuff like some of the like ads for the arcade platform, the advertisement flyers are going to go into box front instead of the proper advertisement flyer front folder, because we don't have them separated out right now. So if people want everything separated out perfectly, unfortunately, they're going to have to re-download some of that art. But hopefully, I mean, at least it's easy to do that. Or you can manually move this stuff around. And then, of course, after we get all this image stuff done, we'll add an option to specify or prioritize all these different image types, so that you can specify really what you want to see in your collection. Valtias, I never really had a problem with Hyperspin, just like some of the LaunchBox views better, and also the LaunchBox GUI for configuring stuff. Migration is huge. Yeah, yeah. Well, we've already migrated. We did a huge migration recently. The trick is going to be, so I mean, it should be relatively easy to go through and rename some folders on startup. Um, I wanted to be able to do this without migration, and then realized, oh crap, I can't. So I mean, we could add code. We could add code to look, for example, in the front folder as well as the box front folder. But nobody wants an image collection that's not organized properly. So unfortunately, yeah, we are going to need migration. I don't think that's going to be a big job though. Renaming some folders is really pretty easy. So that's good. Beltias, I had problems with Hyperspin and Steam streaming. It might be because I have direct input and not X input controller. Sure. I haven't tried with Big Box yet. All right. Um, Steam streaming should work. That's what I hear from the community. We have made a bunch of different changes to make that happen. So the database stuff from LaunchBox, sure. Uh, yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. Um, yeah, there's no way to filter games based on missing images right now. The only way to do it is to filter games based on missing uh, LaunchBox Games Database ID. Excuse me, LaunchBox Games Database ID, uh, which works, but it doesn't look for particular types of images. I mean, that'll work for front images because pretty much everything's got a front image that has a games database ID, but it's not perfect. So yeah, that should be done for sure. Good morning, Martin. Cool. Sounds good. Also, letting community rate image quality would be nice too, so I can find images that look like crap and replace them. Ah, interesting. That's a good idea. Yeah, get a Bitbucket ticket in there for that, Veltias. I like that. That's smart. Hey, Brock, welcome. Is there a way to use other media for the clear logo in Big Box besides clear logos? Yeah, if you hack it, if you trick it. However, unfortunately, Doughboy, trust me, it won't look good. I've experimented with that quite a bit, and the images will overlap, and it just looks kind of stupid. But I mean, feel free to try. It's just a matter of putting those images in the clear logo folder. There's no way to really change that right now, officially. Oh, okay. Quad says, referring to migrating from Hyperspin, I made a forum post about people who want to keep media they've already synced from Hypersync. Yeah, that's helpful. That's awesome. I get you. I hear you. Isolac. Hey, Isolac. Jason, I'm assuming using the VLC video engine, there are no problems with any codecs, but are there any restrictions of video resolution? Not that I know of, no. VLC, it's known. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's known as the it'll play anything engine. I know I've heard recently that we have some um, VLC won't play playlists, M3U playlists like you would expect. So I'm not sure why our particular engine is having an issue with that. But other than that, it should play pretty much anything and shouldn't be restricted as far as the video size or anything like that. Obviously, if you've got humongous HD videos, you might see a little bit more performance slowdowns when you play the videos, but I don't think it's going to be much of an issue on good hardware, anyways. Hey, David, welcome. Yeah, I agree. That is a great idea. Rating the images. That's awesome. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Let's go down. Start fixing these issues. So these are all the browse buttons, which obviously we can make them all the same now. So we're going to eliminate a lot of that code once we add everything in. And we're focusing when we switch the tab. It's load and save that we want to start with. And then that's all right here. Excuse me. So let's get loading the values all set. We need to insert a bunch of different rows into that table, basically. So first things first, for each string image type in image types.getList. That code right there has saved a lot of code because basically I can loop through all the various image types, which I should have just done that the first time I implemented this, because that makes it easy and it cleans up the code a lot. All right, let's see. I'm on the fence with Hypersense. Sometimes I love the individual game themes, and sometimes I think it's just overwhelming gaudy. Sure. I like the themes. They're good for the retro arcade feel, if that's what you're aiming for. Some people like the modern style more. Yeah, I like both. One thing I specifically don't like about most hyperspin themes is, and this isn't all hyperspin themes, but it's just the ones I've seen lately. I don't like the wheel coming in and out as you're navigating through your games. I just think that's disorienting. But there are a number of hyperspin themes I think look amazing, absolutely. And that's the awesome thing about theming is you can meet everybody's preference as far as how you want things to look. So it's not really fair to bash hyperspin because it's too flashy. Because basically it just if it's too flashy, get a different theme. That's what it comes down to. Oh, that's good to hear, David. I don't have a lot of experience with performance and hyperspin, so good to know. K Money says the problem with most of their themes is they are made for 4:3 and don't look good to me on a widescreen monitor unless you convert them. Yeah, I keep hearing that a lot. The 4:3 aspect ratio issues. Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. So we're going to be adding rows to that data grid view. Did I name the data grid view anything smart? Probably not. Oh, database data grid view is a bad name. Let's do folders data grid view. So this dot folders data grid view dot rows dot add, and then we can just send in the values, and it is the image type. We're going to do image type here, followed by the actual folder. And so it's this dot platform dot platform folders, image type. And then the browse button doesn't need a value, I think. So hopefully that will work. And we will still need to add some for game videos folder, for the games folder, the game videos folder, the manuals folder, and the game music folder. So I still need to go through and fix some of the translations issues. So that is still on my plate to do. But I think I'm going to get everything working before I go back and fix some of those issues. Games should probably be first. And I think that's get games folder path. Okay. That's fine. And then we have the images, and we can put the videos, manuals. Actually, let's put these all at the top, I think. Videos, manuals, and music. If I could type. Oh, and we should be using utilities that get relative path as well on these folders to shorten them up if possible. What's the matter here? Oh, duh. Dot folder path. There we go. Excuse me. I'm going to copy this guy. We'll make this easier. For videos, for manuals, I'm missing some parentheses. Or not. Okay, there we go. And then this guy. There we go. All right. And we can get rid of all this stuff here. We need the notes, though. That's important. All right. So that is load, and then save should be similar. So this shouldn't be very difficult. Hey, Austin. Welcome. Let's see. Let's catch up a little bit here. Well, well, well. Welcome, Austin. I hope you can hear my mic. Everybody's been tricking me if I've really been muted this whole time. Yeah, Hyperspin only looks as good as its themes. Absolutely, and there's a lot of pretty themes. This me turning on sound. There we go. Who's somebody who just sent me a working zip? Yeah. Unfortunately, the Doughboy, it's not that simple, not that easy, because things change and then everything's going to get out of whack. Hey, how do I say Stifilus? 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 Anyways, welcome. The emulation king of YouTube, absolutely. Thanks for joining, Austin. I had planned on talking to Austin over IM, but I didn't think about the scheduling. So great to have you here, Austin. I appreciate it. Um, really appreciate all that Austin does on YouTube. He's really helped us grow tremendously, and he does good work. So um, thank you, Austin. Glad to have you here. Awesome. Thank you. Doughboy, be nice. Come on, man. They have to be long. Are you kidding? Hi, David. Yes, LaunchBox will get theme support. Um, the big box will get theme support. LaunchBox, I don't plan on theming any at least not anytime soon, any deeper than we already have. Big box itself, yes, we'll get themes, and it's going to be. I've explained it before, but it's going to be based on WPF, the WPF markup that I've shown in the previous videos, um, and I plan to do it for the very next version. So I'm going to be opening that up here soon. Soon after we get these images all structured and we get the um, some of the integration going between the LaunchBox Games Database and LaunchBox itself. We will be jumping on um, adding the theme support, which is actually going to be fairly easy thanks to WPF and XAML. So that's coming. That's coming up quick. All right, Doughboy, settle down. We don't need to talk about the death of hyperspin or anything like that going forward. Let's be nice. I really don't want to get into a flame war here between all this with all this stuff. Let's keep this nice. There's a lot of people that really appreciate hyperspin, myself included. So let's not bash it. No worries. No worries. Goodness sakes. Yeah. PS4 support. I didn't know there was a PS4 out already. No, just kidding. All right. So yeah, batch uploading media to the LaunchBox Games database is indeed planned. So that's coming. I am yet uncertain whether that's coming for this version or not. This Reef Boy. Welcome, Reef Boy. I see a lot of videos on Simply's channel on LaunchBox. What catches my attention is the favorites recent played games. Do we have the ability to hit the arrow joystick to the right and access those games? Um, yeah, yep, I know what you mean. On the platforms list screen, yes, you can play the favorites right without even going into the platforms, just by going right with the joystick. That's correct. Sure, Valtius, I get you. I know that should be coming. I can't make that number one priority because I think people are more excited about custom views than anything else right now. That's going to be my next priority. Awesome, Reef Boy. All right, let's get this development going. Yeah, at least get this save method going before we jump back to discussion here. Let's see, but feel free to keep discussing, guys, and I'll catch up when I'm done with this. Platform.folder, the games folder. Okay, so let's just go through this stuff. We have to loop through the list of, yeah, so for each data row or data grid view row in this dot folders data grid view dot rows, and then we go through and the string media type equals row 0, no, row dot cells 0 dot value. That gets us our media type dot toString. Now if media type equals games, videos, manuals, or music, games, else if media type equals videos, else if media type equals manuals. Actually, this should be changed to singular just to match what I've got elsewhere. Else if media type equals music, else, there we go. And then this is images. This dot platform dot folder equals row dot cells 1 dot value dot toString dot trim. Video this dot platform folders video dot folder path equals this guy. This platform folders manual. I should create a constant set for media types other than image types. We have all the image types, but I'll come back to that, I think. Oops. Okay, and then music. And then finally we have images. So this platform folders media type dot folder path equals, actually, what am I smoking? We can do that for everything, dummy. This, guys, is why I'm an idiot. We don't even need those 3 blocks. Bingo. The game is the only one that's different. Cool. And we can delete all this crap that's broke. And in theory, we have, well, we do have some more stuff to clean up with the browse buttons. That's right. So we'll get on that. Let me catch up on the comments here real quick. All right. How hard would it be add a type in the game feature to add a type? Sure, in Big Box. Sure. Basically, the issue, Doughboy, with search functionality in Big Box is that we need an on-screen keyboard, and we don't have that right now. But that's coming. We'll get that in there soon. Game room, yes, I collect the real hardware, and I haven't been doing it for very long. But yes, I love collecting game systems. I'm kind of weird because I collect more of the modern stuff than the the old stuff. But I've got, like, over here in my corner, I've got a PlayStation, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, a Wii, and a PS2. So I'm not doing too bad. I got a lot more to get, obviously, but that is my current setup. So yeah, but I do collect all the physical media and hardware and all that stuff. I enjoy that. I'm not a hoarder. You just keep telling yourself that, Valtias. I'm not a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I hear you, Austin. Yeah, real hardware does break down. Hey, Flame Slap. Ahoy. Arr! Everybody's wives have problems with their collections. See, I have the distinct advantage, gentlemen, and if there's any ladies around, but I have the distinct advantage of being able to claim that I make money from my hobby. Because I really do. The whole LaunchBox thing, which is really pretty awesome to be able to claim if you think about it. So I can get away with the collection stuff. As a matter of fact, I have an arcade cabinet in the middle of my living room. So, anyways, let's see. Well, that's cool, Valtias. I'm sure you'll find people to buy. Absolutely. I might be interested, actually. Hit me up, Valtias, after the stream. Let's see. What kind of help do you need? Coca-Cola. Haha, cute. Oh, that's sad. Sorry to hear that, Bill Tyus. No more PS2 for you. Take it easy, Brock. Very cool, Game Room. That's awesome. Collecting and repairing old computers and consoles since 1985. That's awesome. That's really neat. I don't have. I wish I still had all the old computers that I had growing up, but I don't. Let's see. I do have an Atari 2600, but it's not up here. I forgot about that. That's not really that impressive. That's cool. Reef Boy, man, you're absolutely lucky. My wife tolerates all this stuff, but she doesn't. She never has been into, and she likes to get on and play some arcade games with me every once in a while, but she's never been a real big gamer. That's okay. I love her anyways. This is C sharp, Doughboy. Yeah, and I'm not rich, but I'm getting there. This is actually in the last couple of weeks, the first time in my entire life I've actually had a little bit of savings. To be completely honest with you guys, so yeah, it feels pretty good to have a little bit of savings for once. But yeah, uh, I wouldn't call myself rich. All right, let's get back to this code. So what do we got here? This is the tab control selected index change. We don't really even need that line. I don't think we need to do anything else there. All the browse buttons. We need to hook up the browse buttons. But I think maybe, yeah, I think there's a, I'm not sure if it's on the column. There's an event. Let's see. On the constructor. This dot folders data grid view dot columns 2, and this is a data grid view button column. Dot click. Button. I don't know. How do we handle the button click for a data grid view? I don't know. It's been a while since I've done that. We do want to use column text for button value, so we're going to want to do that. Now that's in the, you can look at the events here, but true, text, default cell style. We don't have any events listed here, actually. So I'm thinking maybe it's probably an event on this, maybe row command or something like that. Cell click maybe is the thing to look for. Let's just put a message box in there, make it easy. And we can check for that. I'm just going to comment out all of these for now. And we can come back to those. Then there's one more here. Yeah, we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to build it. Austin says, did we talk about the ability to add a custom intro, maybe also a custom screensaver too? And yeah, the Wii U does work with the controller with the main flash adapter. Yeah, that's come up recently, so I do plan eventually, at least. I'm not sure how prioritized it will be, but we'll be adding support for intros. Absolutely. The biggest trick there in my book is I'm not any good at building an intro video, so that's what, man. I'd be super excited to get that implemented. If somebody built us an awesome intro video, hint hint. Is it possible to have the background as a full screen version of the VidSnap? Not right now, Austin, but that is relatively easy to do. So I plan to add that very soon. So we'll add a view for that here soon. And that is especially beneficial, I think, for the platforms videos, because what you could do is once we add platform videos, which is planned very soon, what you could do is you could have the background be a platform video so that it's a different way of theming things even. Yeah, hint hint. All right. Did we build? Yes, we built. And my images are going to be all messed up because we haven't migrated anything. But we'll go ahead and give it a start and take a look at the platforms management. That would be awesome, Austin. Yeah, absolutely. I would love for Simply Austin to build us an intro video, wouldn't you guys? That would be incredible, Austin. Absolutely. Very, very cool. And I really highly doubt your editing skills are poo, Austin. I think we've all observed otherwise. Let's see. Let's go into manage platforms. Here we are. Now, if we open up, I got squeaking problems today apparently. Let's open up DOS. Ah, okay. Let's see what our issue is here. It's in load values. So we're probably missing something. Let's go ahead and enter a debug session. And catch that error. It's going to be caught. It's not going to do that for us. Stupid thing. Fine. Load values. Let's put a breakpoint here, because that's where the issue is, I'm sure. Alright, so nothing wrong there. Nothing wrong there, there, or there. So somewhere in here we have an issue where we're missing an image type. What? That doesn't make sense. Why would it be doing that? So the first image type is looking for is box-front. And box-front should definitely exist in our platform folders. What are we seeing in our platform folders right now? .keys. We don't have anything in our platform folders, which really shouldn't be possible. I've got some kind of issue with my platform constructor because it should be populating all this stuff. Let's figure that out. Oh, okay. So we have two constructors here. I see. It must be the issue is um, we have one constructor that's populating all the platform folders, and then we have another constructor that isn't. So that's the issue. So we got to come back and code that. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. I figured simply Austin. Flame Slap, we're still on the image restructuring, basically we're adding all the um, additional image types from the LaunchBox Games Database, putting them into LaunchBox. Um, better start with good day. I like a box blasting off to space. Yeah, isn't that a little bit similar to Hyperspin though, Veltias? Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be killer. I hope we can get Austin on board for the excuse me for uh, the big box themes. Whoever's knocking at my door, I'm streaming, so you need to leave me alone, please. All right, so that tickles my fancy. All right, let's see. We got to fix this constructor issue, and the issue with doing this in this constructor is we don't have the platform name yet. So we're gonna have to find out where this is happening, and then separate this out so that once you give it a name, it automatically does this stuff, I guess. This is happening in Data Manager. Load from data row. So we could handle load from data row. I'm wondering though of a better. I'm gonna make this simpler. Private. Do it all right here. Private bool platform folders populated. And then after we populate them here, first off, I'm going to separate this out into a method, private void populate platform folders. Platform, yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to go through. This is all the stuff that populates the platform folders. This dot populate platform folders. Paste this stuff in here. Actually, we need to do that after we set the name. Okay. Replace name with this dot name in the selection. Go. And then, oh, come on. That figures. Okay. So populate platform folders, default images folder path. We need to move this line as well. This dot name. And then we're going to set this dot platform folders populated equals true. And then when we set the name, when the name is set, or actually, bah, I'm wondering. I'm not sure if I did the right thing here, actually. So we call load from data row immediately after this. So in theory, well, and then we populate all this stuff after. So I think maybe load from data row should be where we do it. That's not we want platform. Here we go. So I don't think we need the platform folders populated. We're going to get rid of that. It's still good to have this in a method because we're going to need to call it from two different spots. But load from data row. So we're going to go override load from data row. And we're going to do the base functionality first. And then we're going to call this dot populate platform folders. And that should be good to go, I think. Now, the only issue is if it's going to do it twice, but I don't think it should. And we'll get errors if it does. So we'll run with that. Hopefully that will work for us. Oh boy. Good day, mate. Austin here. Enjoy using Big Box. I have a terrible accent. The K Money, I have a family of three little kids, and two of them can't read. So unfortunately, putting a sign on my door is not going to help that very much. It was a lot easier when they were still in school, but now that it's the summer, they're here all day long, and I had to switch to the headset to drown out their noise. All right. Let's see. Okay. Moving on. I'll leave those questions for Austin. So we're built. Let's start up LaunchBox. Let's go into Manage Platforms. All right, it loads. It loads, everyone. It loads. Folders. Hey, that's looking better. That's looking so much better. So we have all the different types of folders. Okay. So we added that message box. So yes, when we click the browse button, that event is fired. So we can use that event for browse button click. This looks decent. I'm happy with this. I think we need to allow resizing the columns, of course. Um, and perhaps make the media type a little smaller. And of course, it won't let me edit anything because of that pop-up, but we'll fix that. Good, good, good. We're getting there. Not much longer, guys, before we'll be able to move on from this. Hey, Mr. Hanuck. Hanuck, however you say that. Welcome. Austin says, I try my best, but it adds more time to the editing. Something I don't mind on bigger vids, but for the smaller vids, I just want the info out, not take days in edits. I hear you there, Austin. I've had some requests to make the videos that I put out, like the LaunchBox developer sessions, more attractive and more professional and all that stuff, but that's not the intention, and it would take me too long to do all that, and it's not worth the effort really because people just want the content primarily. So um, I'm not gonna put in a bunch of extra time into those videos because it distracts from the development. All right, so here we go. The first thing I want to do is get into. Come on. Okay, now let's work on the column sizes a little bit. I think we're gonna make the browse fill weight. I'm gonna make it 50 because that was bigger than necessary. And then the folder path needs to be bigger. Fill weight, let's make that 100. And media type fill weight, let's make that 80. See what we get. That looks just about right, actually. So we'll leave it there. And then in my cell click, it'll tell us which cell it is. If e dot column index equals 2, then we want to do our thing. Otherwise, we want to skip it. So I'm going to change this up. If e dot column index is not equal to 2, we're going to return and do nothing. Otherwise, it's a browse button click, and we want to browse, basically do this kind of code right here. So I'm going to comment this out, and we're going to copy or cut this code. And then while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and Eliminate all this extra crap that we don't need. And go down to here. So folder browser dialog, the selected path. We get the current path first. So first things first, we need to get the string path equals this dot folders data grid view dot rows e dot row index, which is the current row, dot cells 1 is the current value in that, no, dot value dot toString. Okay. So if it's empty, which it really shouldn't ever be empty actually, but oh well. If it's empty, then we set it to application startup path by default. Otherwise, we set it to get full path from path. Now, one thing that concerns me here is what if the path is invalid? People have put in a bogus path. So we basically we have a try catch in here to handle that scenario, so we should be okay. And then we set the value. So this comes down to this dot folders data grid view dot rows e dot row index dot cells 1 dot value equals that guy. And the browse buttons should work across the board then, and we should be able to edit our cells. And in theory, we should be good to go other than the migration, but we will confirm that here. Okay. Yeah, Doughboy development isn't for everybody. I love development. I mean, I've been doing it since I was 12, literally. Started in Visual Basic 5. Um, no, actually, I started before that in GW Basic and Q Basic, but I don't call that. That wasn't really anything serious. I wasn't really doing anything productive with that at all. I was playing songs with code, stupid little stuff like that. So it was fun, but I wouldn't call that real development. Anyways, but then got into Visual Basic 5 and all that stuff when I was a kid. But yeah, not everybody can. Not everybody finds it fun, and if you don't find it fun, it's not gonna work out for you really, because you sit at a desk all day long and you don't move. So some people's personalities that works well for, and other people's personalities it doesn't. Okay. Oh, we wanted to be able to resize the columns, so we have that issue. But oh, and the other thing, man, this is one thing that's irritating about Windows. See this browse for folder dialog? It sucks. The browse for folder stuff really, really sucks. It doesn't work very well. I want the full Windows browse dialog, but in order to make that full Windows browse dialog work for folders, it's a bunch of hacks and it's really nasty. So that's one thing I don't like, but I'll just keep whining over here. So anyways, that seems to work. If we change this up to something stupid, like desktop, I want to just copy this value before I do that so we don't lose it. The other thing is we want to clean this up. So yeah, that's working. Oh, interesting. It copied all the text of the whole thing, I see. So we definitely need some better error handling in this dialog, and I want to add some functionality to be able to set. There's so many folders here. What if you want to you want to just move it to a different drive or something, and you want everything organized automatically inside that? So we need some functionality to added to this to make that easy, because there's just so many different folders. So that is coming, but I'm not going to tackle that right now. We'll get back to that. I do want to get this so that you can resize the columns at least. But I think this should work. Let's go ahead and save something. So box 3D, for example. Let's browse and set that to D test. Yeah, so it kept it relative. Let's click OK. Wait for it to save. And then if we load it back up. Okay, so we have an issue. You didn't save it. That's why I checked. Not sure why it didn't save it. We'll have to look into that. I think I'm going to do some of this debugging though later on. Well, I'm not live streaming. I want to get the folder organization stuff going here soon. All right. Yeah, the color themes are a LaunchBox Premium option. I can show those off real quick. So we go to Tools, Options, Theme, Colors. We have all these different color themes that you can set it to. And then you can customize every single one of these colors if you want to get into the nitty gritty. So lots of fun stuff you can play with there for the premium version. No, the color themes are only for LaunchBox. Big Box, like I said, we got theming coming very soon. All right. So right now, if I were to go and refresh all my images, I'd have no images because they're all in the wrong folders. So on startup, I'm thinking we want to go through and rename the folders. I think that's probably the best option. In program here, we reorganize our images. We already have logic in here to reorganize our images for 5.0. If you're running a version previously than 5.0, because we already reorganized things once. And now we need to do some additional reorganization, but we want to make sure that this is done first, just in case somebody is upgrading from a really old version of LaunchBox. Do that first, and then we can rename our folders, I suppose. Let's see. The big box themes, they're oh yeah, they'll be, I don't know what you mean by game specific, but yeah, they'll probably be system specific. I don't know. We might, I mean, later on in the future we might add the ability to add custom themes for every single game, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Thanks for stopping by, Austin. Appreciate it. It's been fun. No worries. Take it easy, man. Okay, let's see. So basically, I want to add a method. Where would be best to put this method? We want to, because we're going to have to call it for both startup on LaunchBox and startup on Big Box. So I'm going to add another method right here, I think. Private, no, we want to make it public. static void rename. Whoa, hello. That's funny. Something just fell down on me over here. All right. Uh, rename image folders for 6.3. Whatever. That'll do. And we'll run that right here. Program.rename image folders for 6.3. And then also in Big Box, wherever we're calling reorganize images form. 2 references. In the main view model, we're doing that. And then also I'm going to say program.rename image folders for 6.3. So on startup for both LaunchBox and Big Box, we're probably going to want to add something to skip it if it's already been done, a setting for that. So we'll get there. And let's just go ahead and add it. I think. We can add it later. Let's get the actual code going. Sure, a theme per game like the other guys have, yeah. No worries. Hey, heck, here, man, I'm horrible at pronouncing you guys' names. Well, welcome. Welcome. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Rename image folders for 6.3. So we need to go. Yeah, you know what? This is going to be tricky because we need the old values as well as the new values. Uh-oh. Now the old values are in the XML, but I got rid of them, darn it. So we're going to still need those settings in there. So I'm going to have to go back in my Git history to pull those back out. I needed to get rid of them at least temporarily so that we could find where they were all referenced. But I need them back. So I'm thinking, let's pull up our source tree here for our source control, our Git, and actually it's just in the master branch, so that's nice and easy. But take a look at, it's under platform, I think. Yeah, it's under platform. So if I go into log selected, we'll go back to this one and we'll open that selected version, and now we have all the old stuff. We got rid of, see, we have all these folders here for the data table exports. The music folder, the manuals folder, Steam banner images folder, banner images, screenshot, fan art, clear logo, back, front, videos. These are the ones that we got rid of. So we are going to need those in there, which is confusing. I don't like keeping them in there, but I need access to them, so I guess we'll leave them there. Name, release date, developer, manufacturer, CPU, memory, graphics, sound, display, media, max controllers. I think that's it. Those are the ones that we need. So if we go into platform, we got our constructors. Here we are. We'll add those back in. And then also they need to be set to the defaults. Or I guess we can just Of course, this is more involved than I thought it would be. That figures. That's usually how things work. Where is the 6.3? There it is. So here's our method. So we need to pull up what the old folders were, which in my case are all going to be the defaults. So yeah, basically, and all those old folder, it's the images only that we're reorganizing. And we pasted all those things. So I need to come up with that list. Let's just paste them in here and go through the ones that we need to worry about. So videos folder we don't need to worry about. Front and back, clear logo, fan art, screenshot, banner, and Steam banner. We don't need to worry about manuals or music. So those are the particular ones that we need to move. So let's go ahead from here and start renaming these folders. And so this needs to happen on a platform by platform basis. This should be after we load all our data, I assume. Yeah, the data manager should be loaded at this point. 6.3, yes, we've already loaded all our data. Okay, so for each var platform in this dot in program dot data manager dot settings, no, not settings, dot platforms. And basically we need to go through and rename the folders for every single platform. We're going to need to check to see if the values are blank though. So if platform dot platforms dot values, there we go. If platform dot, and we have all those properties, front images folder, string dot is null or empty, platform dot front images folder, then platform dot front images folder is the default, and it's going to be path.combine application dot startup path followed by images followed by front, no, platform, which is the platform name. Actually, we see the problem is I got rid of a lot of this code that I already had, which is kind of stupid really, but I think we'll be okay. Utilities.coerce valid file name, platform.name. Okay, and then we need another one to put in the front. So that's the default front images folder, the old one. And then from there we can check to see if it exists. If directory.exists platform.front images folder. Then basically we want to rename that folder. The other thing is, what if both folders exist? Because we already have the folders that the destination folder already exists. So if directory dot exists platform dot platform folders image types dot box front. Okay. Then box front dot folder path. So if we already have that directory, then we need to check to see if it's empty. If it's empty, we need to delete it. If it's not empty, we don't want to continue. So if directory.get files platform.platform folders image types dot box front dot folder path star dot length is greater than 0, then we don't want to do it here. Length equals 0. This is getting some complicated logic in here. So if the length is 0 for that, then we want to delete the folder. We're going to go ahead and directory.delete. We need to get that folder path in a variable because I don't want to keep having to do that. String new folder path equals this guy. And then this as well, new folder path, directory.delete new folder path. Okay, else, we're going to say bool. I think we're going to want to clean this up with a sub method here. Directory platform front images folder. Bool should rename. Then we want to set the directory exists and it has files in it. Should rename equals false. Set it to true by default. Actually, no. Set it to false by default. And that's fine. Let me delete it. Should rename equals true. Otherwise, if the directory doesn't exist, then should rename equals true. Martin C. Take it easy, Martin. Awesome. Appreciate it. Okay, so should rename. We got set that to true if the directory does not exist. We set it to true if the directory does exist but it's empty. We just delete the folder and we set it to true. Otherwise, we set it to false if it exists and it has files. Then after we get out of this block here, if should rename, then we go ahead and finally proceed with renaming the folder. So directory. Now, I'm not sure if there's a way to rename a folder in .NET, to be honest. That's not something you do very often. So let me look that up. Let's see. There's no difference between moving and renaming. You should simply call it directory.move. That's what I figured. Okay. In general, if you're only doing a single operation, you should use the static methods. That makes sense. Okay. So we call directory.move. Directory.move, the source directory and the destination directory. So basically, we have our um, platform.frontImages folder, which is the old one. We should make that the complete path, or we should use the utilities.getFullPath platform.frontImages folder. What if that directory doesn't exist? I mean, that's something to think about. And directory.exists. And that's the other thing. We're doing this here, but oh, we're already checking to see if the platform and front images folder exists. But it's tricky because we're not. If it doesn't exist, then should rename should be false. We don't really need that block either, but that'll be false by default. So we don't need the directory.exist. But one thing that's tricky is that platform.frontImages folder isn't necessarily going to be a full path here. So utilities.getFullPath there. And then if should rename directory.move utilities get full path front images folder. The destination should be new folder path, which we're going to want to move this out of here. There we go. Except we want to make that utilities to get full path as well. All right. I think that is the logic that we need for front only. We need similar logic for all the various ones. We need back, clear logo, fan art, screen chart, banner, and Steam banner. Actually, banner and Steam banner are going to be the same. We're not renaming those, so we don't need to do anything with those, but we have 4 more to take care of, and really we should separate this out into a child method so that it's not disgusting. All right, static void. Let's see. Rename image folder. And we need the platform, or do we need the platform? We need the old folder and the new folder ultimately. So string old folder, string new folder. Maybe the image type. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be difficult to do this in a child method properly because we've got so much custom logic in here for all the various properties, because the old method of doing things isn't a very good method. So I think forget this. We're just going to copy it. We're going to be dirty. And I'm going to loop through all these. Well, if we do that, it'd be easier separation with the code. It probably won't take much longer to loop through them all again for every single one. Rather than do them all, it is not much difference. So change this to back. So the default here, let's go line by line. We need back images folder, back images folder, back, box, back. Okay. Back images folder. Parallel code, you mean threading, Veltias? Yeah, we use a lot of threading actually, especially in big box, in order to keep performance smooth. So back, images back. I think we're good here. Yeah, we're good with back. Parallel for each. Is that must be new? That must be new in the um, in the newest version of .NET, huh? Newest versions. C# parallel. So it came out in the .NET Framework 4. Interesting. That's cool. I didn't even know that existed, Veltias. That's neat. I'm not sure it would be necessarily good to do all this stuff in parallel order for these file operations. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to try it. But no, I didn't even know that particular thing existed. Obviously, I've been, I've done, I do that a lot manually, but I've never really used that particular function. Yeah, right. No. Yeah, there's always ways to improve the code constantly. Thankfully, though, complete rewrites are very rarely required. All right, so we got back. Let's move on. The next is the clear logos. Let's do a. We can't really trust a search and replace with the spacing and stuff, so I don't know. I guess that's probably the only one that matters with the space. But then we've got the new stuff and the old. Yeah, so I probably can't do. Wait, clear logos. We're not going to be renaming, actually. Duh. Because it's the same folder for clear logos. So that's another one we don't have to do. So really, it's just these four: fan art and screenshots. Okay, so fan art. Fan art, and then the image type needs to be fan art background. Dot fan art images folder. Rincewind, quick thought, a bit off subject, but could you add in Big Box an option that in the wheel will auto move down to the next system after a minute or so, a bit like a screensaver? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Uh, yeah, if it's not in Bitbucket, we should add that. I think I've seen it in there, but I'm not positive. It might be in there new. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love that idea, Rincewind. That's a great idea. Just to, and I know we have screensaver stuff in there, but that's actually really simple to do. That's a little bit more simple of an approach than the screensaver game loading stuff. That's cool, Valtias. Nice. It's impressive. All right. Fan art background, fan art images, new folder path. Yeah, we're good there. Directory.move, fan art. images folder to the new folder path. One more, and that is the screenshots. Um, images, actually screenshot images folder. Screenshot images folder. Images. Screenshot. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any way to classify the existing screenshots as the different things. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just set them all to screenshot gameplay, even though they won't all be gameplay screenshots. That's the best we can do at this point because all the existing screenshots won't be classified. So that's what we'll have to do. And then screenshot images folder. Screenshot images folder. And in theory, that should do it. We did want to add functionality to skip all this extra logic on startup if it's already been done, because clearly that's going to slow things down. But I will come back to that. Don't do this every time. Let's see. Is there a place in the form where I can see the feature requests? Yeah. There's a. Oh yeah. Sure. There we go. Cute, Veltius. All right. So we're built. It should try and organize this stuff. We will see what happens. It's probably going to crash, but we'll give it a shot. The other thing is we should delete the old folder. Well, no, we don't need to because we're moving it. I think we're okay. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Here we go. Now, if we take a look at my LaunchBox folder here, and we go to images and open up, say, Windows, we have box front. We no longer have our front folder. We have box front, and all our front box images are in there. It looks like it worked, guys. And fan art background contains all our background images. And what else? There was screenshots. Screenshot gameplay contains all our screenshots. Oh, they are separated out. That's right, because from EMU movies, we do separate them out. So we could take a look at this and properly separate them. I didn't think about that. That's cool. Well, that's great. That'll help us. Then we can do that as part of the migration. And there was one more. We checked the fan art. We checked the screenshots. We checked the front. We need to check the back, which should be box back. Has all our back box images. Woot! So yay, it works! Yay! Now, if I go through and because you see I'm missing images right now because I've been running it with it all with the images missing. So if I go and refresh my images, in theory, we have all our box art back. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Boss. Cool. Yes, arcade flyers do usually have backs. Um, not all. I mean, they're hard to find. Not all of them. Yeah, there's a lot of tickets in there, isn't there, Veltius? We got plenty to do, don't we? Um, So that's good to go. Obviously, we have some extra things to do. I'm going to create a quick to-do list for me here. Um, in my to-do, I need to these clone tag and emulator configuration stuff. That's for Bleesby for the rocket launcher thing. I'm going to get that done today. Um, I need to fix saving the platform folders. We need to separate out Emu Movies screenshot folders uh, on migration. We need to only run the migration the first time. What else do we need? On the platforms form, way to easily move everything. Um, allow resizing columns on platform form. And what else? I think that might be about it. Um, yeah, that's all I can come up with right now. So I should be able to get this stuff done before the end of the day. But before we dive into more code, um, let's take a break from it and have a little bit of a discussion. We got 23 people here in this live feed, so let's have a discussion. One thing that I don't like right now, so I go to edit Doom 2, so we can take a look at this, and you'll notice. Well, actually, it's when we're adding new games that it's an issue. So if I go to add a new game, the first thing you get up top here is we have the title field. Okay, well, so I'm going to type in Doom 3. I want to add Doom 3. Okay, I press enter. Um, and we'll skip this for now. But it searches, and people are going to search without having a platform field filled out. You see that? And that's the trick. That's one thing I don't like with our current presentation here, because the results are never anywhere as good. To say, obviously, if you search for Mario without a platform, oh boy, you're in for a treat. You got a huge long list, and it's of course Wikipedia is going to take forever because we're searching a bunch of stuff on Wikipedia. But you see, this list is 10,000 miles long. So the better process is to put in the platform before you put in the title for the game. So that's one thing I don't like. I guess we would just put platform above title. There's that option. But I'm not sold on that either. So I'm looking for feedback on that, guys. What do you guys think as far as restructuring this um, to somehow get users to populate the platform before they populate the title? Because that will that will clean things up for people who are manually entering games. However, I get the impression that not a lot of people are running around manually entering games. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Um, of course, could make platform a required field. Yeah, and it already is actually, or maybe it's not. It's not. But the issue is isn't so much that platform isn't a required field. It's that it doesn't get people to enter in platform before entering in the title field. Um, so yeah, I mean we could bark at the user to enter in the platform first before they can even go into the title field or something like that. That's possible. I'm not sure that's going to be very user friendly. Or ask after enter title and press enter. What do you mean by that, Milliard? I hardly ever manually enter a game unless it's for PC. Yeah, I hear you there, K Money. I know what you mean. Most people don't. which is why this hasn't really been a major issue. Have a tick box for people who don't want to use it as well. A pop-up window. Sure, we could do that. Yeah, we could when you first. That's probably one of the best. Well, I'm not a big fan of pop-up windows, but yeah, when you first add a game, we could pop up a box that says, "What's the platform? Give me the platform first." The only issue is that that really obstructs any other flow. If you want to do something different, that's tricky there. I know I'm just coming up with a bunch of excuses. Sorry, guys, but this has been a dilemma in my head for a while, and I haven't been able to figure out how to solve it. I think I have games that exist in LaunchBox but not on the LaunchBox Games Database. Will there be a way to submit my games that are missing? Yes, that I'm hoping to add very soon. So basically, um, the I'm hoping for the next version you'll be able to do a sync between um, what you've got in your collection and what is up on the LaunchBox Games Database. So there'll be an option under Tools to run a sync, or under Cloud and run a sync, and you'll be able to compare the data for all your games between the games database. Let's stop the video. Between the games database and what you have in your local collection, and then choose which fields you like better. And if it's a game that doesn't exist up there, then you'll be able to upload the whole game. So that is my goal. That's my plan. Isolac, send the cursor to platform input before starting the search. Yeah, and that is my best idea as well. We would have to put platform up above title in order to do that, but I think that's probably the smartest approach. As much as I don't like the concept of putting platform above title, because it seems like title is the important first thing to add, I think that would help clear some things up. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, is moving platform above title and have it focus there first. Obviously, it'd be weird to have this window jump to platform first if we didn't put it up above as the first field. If you already have the platform clicked on the left, would it be easy to only search for that game and that platform selected? Wow, there we go. There's a great idea. That's genius, K Money. That's awesome. That's really smart. Yeah, that's the kind of idea I'm looking for right there, because basically I mean, maybe that's what feels so awkward to me. So if you're in Nintendo 64 and you go add a game, we ought to be defaulting this field to the Nintendo 64. Smart. Why didn't I think of that? There you go. Beautiful. Well, I'm glad we had that conversation. Is that answers it, I think, for me. It's not perfect if you're, I mean, if you're not in platforms, but I think most people are usually in platforms. So that's genius. If you're in that category, exactly. Boom. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that discussion. K Money, that's genius. So default add edit platform if in platforms view. Bingo. That's a good solution there. Sweet. So then, yeah, yeah, I think that only makes sense. So that's awesome. Appreciate it, K Money. That's great. So if we go to so basically the next thing I want to talk about is that sync, the interface for that. I want to hear what you guys' opinion is on this. We have several options for the sync, and what I mean by the sync is when you go through and you sync your, because right now it's a little bit confusing, because right now under cloud, of course, we have sync to my collection, and what sync to my collection does is just adds the games that you have to your collection on the LaunchBox Games Database. So so that's more simple than what we want to add, because right now, if you have a game that doesn't exist in the LaunchBox Games Database, it won't add it. Uh, so in theory, one tricky thing about this is we're going to have um, separate. I think it's going to have to be a separate process for syncing to your collection, as well as doing a metadata sync. So if we add another option here to sync all metadata, all games and metadata, or something like that, sync all games. I'm not sure what to call it, so I want to hear your guys. I want to hear your feedback on what we call that sync, and that sync is basically what it's going to do is it's going to add any missing games that you have in your collection that the LaunchBox Games Database doesn't have. It's going to add those for one. It's going to go field by field and compare the data, any data that's different between your games and the LaunchBox Games Database. Two, and then well, basically that's it. It's gonna compare the fields and let you choose whether you want the LaunchBox Games Database value, or you want your local value. And if you choose the one that's local, it will upload it for moderation to the LaunchBox Games Database. And the same thing for new games that are local but aren't on the database. So I'm hoping I'm explaining that halfway decently, but that's kind of what we're going for. Um, so I want you guys' ideas for all this stuff, as far as what to call that process to make it obvious what's going on, and then what the visuals might look like for that operation. Sure, Veltius, yeah. Wikipedia unfortunately doesn't really do very well for images because it's not platform specific images. How do you find all the game covers? Well, there's lots of source resources for game covers online. I typically just start with a Google image search if I'm looking for a new one that we don't have yet. But it all comes from the LaunchBox Games Database. Ultimately, most of them should be automatically populated. Um, yep, we'll keep adding them over time. Game Room. I noticed with a lot of my Japanese and UK titles, usually add them manually and find my own data and images. Yep, yep. We need to get all those added to the LaunchBox Games Database, and hopefully this will let us do that easily. So that, for example, Game Room, all the games that you've added manually, you'll be able to automatically upload to the LaunchBox Games Database, which would be huge. Game Facts. Yep. Sega Model 2. I don't have very many images, very many games in there. But here's what I got. Doughboy. Of course, Daytona USA is really the only one that I play. Um, and these all, I think a lot of them came from the games database, actually, but not all of them. So, guys, what are your thoughts on that? I know I've been just rambling off a bunch of stuff, but let's start with this. What should we call the process? So we're going to put it in the cloud menu. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should put it in tools. Download metadata and images. It's going to be actually similar to that, but I think I want to leave that as is and add a new option under cloud to basically sync all data to the games database or back from the database. So what do you guys think? What should we call that process? Hey Mustang, welcome. My best idea is sync all games, or sync selected games, sync games maybe, and then yeah, I mean that's my best idea right now. Sync games. Sure, all existing metadata. The one trick is we've also got images. So metadata, all existing metadata doesn't really work because we're also going to be doing images at the same time, which is going to be tricky. But we'll get there. So that's one thing that's coming. Once we get all this image stuff squared away and all the data pieces the same between the LaunchBox Games Database and LaunchBox itself, I still got to do some of that work yet. Yeah, I think I am. Game Room. I mean, I expect um, we'll want to prompt users to add the missing games at the end of syncing to my collection. But the sync to my collection needs to be simpler and quicker than the process of going game by game and viewing the differences and you know uploading the differences or downloading the differences. So that's going to take some time, basically. I think. Yeah, ultimately, Doughboy. That's kind of what's going on. Well, let's go up a little bit in the conversation here. Sync current images. Okay, sure. No worries, Veltias. Sync by platform or sync all platforms. Yeah, for sure. I think what we'll do is we'll do the current thing because right now you can press Control A. So we have Nintendo 64 selected. You can press Control A to select all the Nintendo 64 games, and then if you go up and you do your sync, it will sync everything that's selected. Um, and if only one game is selected or something like that, we'll just sync everything. I think that's the plan. All right, so keep it separate, sure. Wait, so that means if somebody else has images for a game that I own, I can get the images from them essentially. So yes, that does mean that, but they're going to have to sync them up to the games database before you're going to be able to get at them, Doughboy. Ah, that's another good point. We have to add this stuff for platforms as well, Rincewind. The platform images right now aren't coming from anywhere. There's no way to download those or anything. So that's something that we need to do yet as well. Add the option to sync all without metadata. That's not a bad idea. Okay. So basically, you're not interested in syncing the metadata, but you want to sync the images. That makes sense. Sync all known images for ROM. Sure. Isolac. I use exact audio copy to rip my music, and it has the option called Submit Information to Metadata Provider. And you can call it Submit Information to Games Database and add a checkbox to also upload images. Sure. Yeah. The only thing is, Isolac with that, that's more manual than I want. I want it to be more automated than just one by one, all that stuff. By the way, I use exact audio copy too. I love that program. Um, you should be able to only sync certain content types too. Makes sense. Okay. Like if I only want to sync my clear logos to the database, okay, that makes good sense. That would definitely help me out. Sync all by category, okay. Sync all known clear logos, sync all known back front covers. Also, if the media already exists on the database, it needs to show you the old version if you want to edit it to your version. Sure, yeah, um, we'll make sure that we're not uploading bogus stuff, so you can choose what you want to upload. That's probably a good idea. Hey, OPAC, welcome. All right, so Some good discussion there. Yeah, and that's gonna be a big job. It's not gonna happen quickly, that's for sure. And I'm planning to get to that after we get the custom themes going in Big Box. So shortly after I do this cleanup with the images and we add the remaining features listed here, I'm going to do all that stuff, maybe go through and fix some bugs. Then we'll get the, ultimately we'll get the, come on, what's my language? I'm losing my words. We'll get the big box themes going, and then from there we'll get back and do the syncing mechanisms. That is going to take a while, so that I'm not sure if that's going to be in this immediate version or the version after. But obviously we'll be putting out betas throughout this whole process. So I think, you know, for those of us who are on the beta releases, it shouldn't matter whether we put it off to the next version or not. Thank you, OPAC. I really appreciate that. It's great to hear. All right, so I guess that's enough discussion for now. We still got like an hour left in the feed. So let's, well, that's interesting. It's funny how that works. It shows the video down here. I never noticed that. That must be a VLC thing somehow or other. Huh. Okay. Not a problem. It's just kind of weird. All right. So I think let's move on and do some of this stuff for Bleasby that Bleasby's been wanting for the Rocket Launcher plugin. And I've been putting this stuff off because I've been working on the image stuff. So I'm thinking let's jump on that. Let's take a break from the image stuff for a little bit. Yeah, the syncing stuff is definitely going to be the most complicated. It's going to be a very involved process. It's not going to be easy. The more manual I make it, for the user, the easier it's going to be. So we might start off a more manual process and then move on to something more significant later, more automated. But I really want to build in automation from the beginning as much as we possibly can. Another hurdle we run into is most of my box images and clear logos have what I want to keep. So most of the stuff I want to sync is newly added fan art. Sure, that makes sense. And we won't, every single sync that we do, that's one thing I'm positive about. You'll be able to have full control over what pieces of data you download from the LaunchBox Games Database. Because yeah, that's how I work too. I've replaced some of the stuff that downloads from the databases because I have better stuff. And what I want to be able to do is upload that better stuff to the games database, so you can choose what you want to keep and choose what you want to get rid of. All right. Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Is there a current beta? I have the option ticked, but it's still on version 6.2. No, actually, we haven't put out a beta yet because the last few days I have been focusing on this image stuff, and I can't put out the next beta until I clear all this stuff up because obviously it will leave people's collections in limbo until I get it all right. So I'm gonna have to do some serious testing myself on the image stuff before we put this beta up, and I'm hoping to wrap that stuff up before the end of the day today and get a beta out there before the end of the day today. Eltias is a program called FileBot that does file renaming for movies and stuff. The UI is pretty decent at master name stuff. Cool. That's great. I know there's a lot of like, batch file renaming utilities out there that people are using, but that sounds improved. Thank you, Van Drak Korek. Great to hear. I appreciate it. We got a lot of people from Germany in our community, so that's awesome. There's some weird face images in Twitch, man. It's so strange. It's funny. Yeah, definitely. It's very cool. I think yeah, see, we got lots of awesome people from Germany. I think part of it, part of the reason for that on the stream is the hours. My guess. What time is it over in Germany right now? Yeah, we plan on Making it all customizable so you have full control. I don't want anybody to have to deal with data they don't want in their collection because they ran the sync. I think that's a horrible idea. So we'll definitely be very careful with that. They'll tie us also on the back end. You should add PNG optimization after people upload. Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Angry Grandpa, great job. Thank you. Appreciate that. 2040. What do you mean by that? Make the file sizes smaller. Yeah, that makes sense. Speed up the importing for bigger libraries. Not really. Unfortunately, downloading all that stuff just takes time. I will note that it's been especially slow as of late because of all the new traffic we've had, which is awesome. And we are actually adding new hardware or moving the server to a new piece of hardware tonight uh, at 10:30, I think, something like that, or 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, so that will hopefully help. So by the way, guys, the servers will be down for it could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, or unfortunately it could be more, but I don't think so. I hope not. But the server will be down this evening, um, which is in so it's in like 12 hours. In 12 hours, the server will be down for a short period of time while we upgrade that network stuff in order to allow for faster performance going forward for downloads and stuff. We were basically maxing out our 10100 connection, um, or not 10100, our 100 megabit connection. We were maxing out, uh, so we are upgrading that to a gigabit connection tonight. Your stream starts at 5:30 for me. Really good time for me. Day's over and I'm just chilling out. That makes sense. That's probably why we got a lot of you guys on board. By the way, I've been to Germany. It was a long time ago when I was a kid, but I had a great time. It was a great place. For some reason, I remember there was good pizza. Probably because I was a kid. So, yeah, enjoy. Everybody's really nice in Germany. Absolutely. I usually convert my images to PNG with Paint.net before I upload to database. Sure. what What is the issue with Germans? What is the issue with Germans? Come on. Tiny PNG does great optimization of images. That makes sense. We are invading LaunchBox. Duh. Couldn't there be an option to import just the ROMs and downloading the pictures and stuff later? As I waited 4 hours for importing. Yeah, absolutely. You can already do that, OPAC. Just say you don't want to download any images in the import process. And then later you can go into tools, download metadata and images, and it'll pick up all the images later. So you don't have to wait for the images on first import if you don't want to do that. They'll tie us tiny PNG, PNG out, PNG wolf. Sure, sure. We can look into that. That's not super high priority because we can always go back and batch optimize them later. But something to think about. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. How many terabytes you have for the database? You'd be surprised. It's actually fairly small, K Money. There's the database itself is not that large. I can go look. I'll pull up the server, but I'm not going to show you guys the server. Sorry. Let's see. Just in case there's some kind of security issue, I don't want to show the server. In case we got some kind of hacker trying to hack into it or something like that. So if we go into, let's see. Well, first of all, space-wise right now, we're looking at 2 terabytes on the drives. It's 2 terabytes in a RAID 1, where all the media is stored. That's the total space that we have. But in the future, when if we get big enough, I can use a separate service like Amazon S3 to store the media if we need it. That shouldn't be a big deal if ever we get too big. But trust me, we're nowhere near too big right now. We're only using a total of 145 gigabytes for all the media, and that includes everything we downloaded from the gamesdb.net. So we're very, very far from hitting our 2 terabyte limit. There's no way we're going to hit that anytime soon. Once we start adding videos, then we're going to be more at risk maybe for doing that stuff. But I think before we add videos, we're going to be doing it. We're going to be putting that on a service like Amazon S3 because I think we're going to max out our bandwidth a lot more quickly with even after we get the gigabit in there. We're going to start maxing out bandwidth. We're going to have more problems with that with videos. So if we do add videos, or when we do add videos, we'll be using an external service for that in order to prevent issues with upscaling and all that stuff. So when import, uncheck grabbing any images from GamesDB or EMI movies. Yes, on import you can just uncheck all the images and EMI movies and everything else. And then when you come back to it, just go Tools, download metadata and images, and you can separately download all those. Houston, I assume that's in Germany. Hisir Hekirua M. PNG Gauntlet does Opti PNG plus PNG out. File Optimizer does a whole bunch of stuff. PNG Wolf. Sure. Can you let us import all our platforms in one go? Right now we can only start one task and have to wait for the next platform. That's a good point. It'd be nice to batch import everything. I think that would be problematic in that you're going to have to configure everything over and over and over. I mean, you got to manually configure every platform with the wizard. But yeah, I can see that. That would be awesome. I agree. Although I got to be honest, that's probably not something that's going to happen anytime soon because that would probably be a significant change. It'd be kind of difficult to do. We might be able to make it so that you can queue up the import processes so that the next one runs when the previous one finishes. So you could run the wizard, it would start. You could run the wizard again, it would start the next one. You could run the wizard. So that's probably how we would do that. Um, but again, unfortunately, let's add a ticket to Bitbucket for that Veltias. I think that's a good idea, but it's not going to be something we can focus on right away. Yeah, vids take way more space. Yep. Yes, it is. Milliard. It is handy. Oh, see, here's the problem. I never leave the house. So I wouldn't know that Houston is close by to Modesto. Uh, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I should look that up. We should open up a. I mean, I would love if there was some kind of convention or something close by that I could go to. But I think the closest ones are pretty far away. Then we could all meet up and stuff. That'd be fun. Or if we get enough people together that are actually in the area, it'd be fun to have a get together or something like that. That'd be fun. Isolac, K Money. I started recording my own gameplay and converting it into a video. It's about 3 megabytes for 30 seconds. So the game is a lot of fan art. The images are actually a lot bigger in size. Yeah, it's funny. I've noticed that the images or the videos are actually fairly small. So that's cool. It's not really that much bigger. I think in general it probably is bigger, but really, if you look at the number of images for a game versus the number of there's only one video typically for a game versus lots of different images. So yeah, the videos might actually take up less space in total than the videos. The videos less space in total than the images. Believe it or not, that makes sense. Sure. Yeah, and like I said, that's being resolved tonight performance-wise, Veltaya. So hopefully things should be a lot quicker after tonight. What's better, saving in imports ROMs as zip or just a normal ROM? I prefer to use unzipped ROMs because it's faster, unless, of course, the emulator supports the zipped ROM directly. We did recently add support for the zipped ROMs. That's a relatively recent feature, but especially I only suggest using that for smaller systems like NES, SNES, N64 should be fine. I disk images like Any console that uses a CD or a DVD, you don't want to zip them. I think that's a bad idea because you're going to run into performance issues when you start up your games. OPAC, is it possible to turn off the mouse over menu? It drives me crazy. Um, the on top of the game boxes, you mean? I assume. Let's see. Is it possible? I'm not sure. It's been so long since I built that. Um, I've never heard of that driving anybody crazy. If we go under the view menu, it would be, yeah, show game icons on hover. That's if you turn that off. If we turn that off, you're not going to get that. Nice and simple. So there you go. If that drives you crazy, you can turn it off. Um, how do I rename ROMs to match real game names? Sure. And with some systems, Doughboy, you don't want to do that because they won't work in the emulators anymore. But there's actually a way to do that, I believe, in the import process. If we go through import ROM files and we add files, LaunchBox Games, let's import, for example, we're doing NES. What happened? There they are. That's right. I forgot. I haven't reorganized this properly. Okay. So we select some games here and we click next. I think this is still here. I built this a long time ago. So we're importing Nintendo Entertainment System and we click next. We choose RetroFire emulator. That's fine. Would you like to move or copy the files? If we copy the files into my LaunchBox Games folder, I think, or move the files, it will let you do that. Search for metadata. Yeah, come on, Emu movies. Next. So in the options here, copy move files into subfolders named with the game's title and year. Well, so there's that option. So I guess it's not renaming. I think at one point we had an option to rename the files themselves upon the import, but I'm not sure that we still have that. We probably got rid of it. We do have this option right here. Yeah. But you can move them. It's just not going to rename the files. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Um, Veltaya says torrent zip plus torrent 7 zip keep the same hash for everyone. If you use normal zipping programs, everyone has a different hash for the same file. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get it. Okay, so torrent zip is a special zip program that makes sure everybody has the same hash. Okay, interesting. I'll check that out. Stifilus, not if you use the RAR5 to compress your ISO systems. Much faster decompression than 7-zip or zip, and you save terabytes of space. Sure. Still going to be, even just the physical hard drive requirements of extracting the file, though, is still for a gigabyte file or up, you're still going to run into, especially if you're not using an SSD, you're going to run into major slowdowns there. But yeah, if that's working great, if that's working quickly, that's great. Obviously, the better your hardware, the better your performance is going to be for extracting those zip files. Okay, Angry Grandpa. I had some errors occur the other night when I was importing my media. When I came back and started the re-import, it had 3 choices, but one mentions not overwriting current metadata. When the import errors, the metadata shouldn't exist for that game, correct? So choosing this option would be the way to have the system relook for those files that errored. Uh, well, it depends on what the error was. Uh, Angry Grandpa. I assume the error was that it couldn't download a particular image. Uh, but yes, that. I think basically the answer to your question is yes. The metadata, basically the download metadata and images will download images only when images don't exist for that category. So, say all the metadata is going to be there for all your games, most likely already. So you don't have to worry about the metadata. Really, all you're interested in is the images, because it's probably the images that errored. So yes, um, if you rerun it and say don't replace any existing metadata or images, it will download only images. It will download images only for games that need it, that have the missing images. So that should be exactly what you're looking for. My SM2 didn't rename, so I can get the images and whatnot. SM2. Oh, Sega Model 2. Uh, yeah. Well, the thing is with those platforms is that they're the arcade platform, but um, when you import those, there's a box you can check to say use the main metadata, which will really help the situation. So, for example, if you're importing Sega Model 2 ROMs, Doughboy, you run through the process and there's a box in the options list to check to say force using main metadata. And for platforms that um, use the arcade MAME style zip files, that's what you want to do, and that will help the games get named properly. I find the import metadata options a bit confusing about what it's actually going to do. Yeah, and it's because it is confusing. Uh, the one thing, I mean, when I built this stuff, it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I provide 10,000 options and confuse the hell out of everybody as far as what we're going to do, or do I keep this simple? And the goal from the beginning has been keeping it simple, but I recognize there's not always a ton of transparency with that because I do have to make a few assumptions in those processes as far as what it's going to overwrite and what it isn't. Um, but I have to somehow keep it simple. The other option is to go, data piece by data piece to make it so that you can choose during the process what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. But of course, that's going to be a much more involved process. So we've discussed adding that stuff before, and I think for that level of tweaking, what we're going to do is we're going to do that with the cloud sync instead of the metadata import. So that's the plan. I think the cloud sync is going to give you that kind of um, that granularity, and then the download metadata and images will keep simple. Okay, that makes sense, Grandpa. Thanks. Yeah, let me know how we can change that wording. I don't know. Oops. Yeah, I'm not gonna pull up that screen right now. But yeah, if anybody's got any ideas how to change that wording, let me know for the different options. Is it planned to create a demo version for premium? That's an excellent question, and unfortunately, the answer is no. And I'll tell you why. Um, in order to do a demo, you have to have DRM. And right now, we have no digital rights management. We have no DRM in Launchbox or BigBox because I hate DRM. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I refuse. I just downright refuse to implement DRM in Launchbox or in BigBox. Unfortunately, that means that we cannot create a demo because in order to create a demo, you have to use DRM. There's no other way of getting around it. Sure, you can use the system clock, but that can be hacked as easy as just changing your time, changing your date. So, unfortunately, there's no way to do a proper demo without including some crippled DRM that makes things a pain in the butt. So, unfortunately, we can't really do a demo. because once we give out the full version, there's no way to disable it accurately without a DRM solution. So that's the struggle that we've had with demos. Hopefully, the videos that we put out are enough to convince people to buy. I wish I had a good solution for that. Um, but yeah, I think the no DRM thing is exactly OPAC. That's awesome to hear. The no DRM thing is more important than having a demo. So that's why we're not doing demos. Absolutely. Unfortunately, there's no way to do demos without DRM. So that's kind of what we're stuck with. Some tooltips on the menu options would be nice. Are you talking Veltias? Are you talking in options? Are you talking everywhere? Probably, I'm guessing. Yeah, I agree. It'd be good to have some tooltips pretty much everywhere that explain more options. Click when I mouse over refresh images if the tooltip tells me exactly what that's going to do. Sure, that makes sense. That'd be cool. Yep, I agree. So let's put that in Bitbucket. Let's put that into Bitbucket so we can add some of those things. And specifically in Bitbucket, what you think needs a tooltip would be good to have as well. I think we're finally caught up with the comments. So we can go back and maybe implement some of this stuff. Let's see. Refresh images, basically all that's going to do, Veltias, nothing to be scared of. I'll show you exactly what it's going to do here. So in your LaunchBox folder, we have images, okay? And then in here, there's a cache folder with a ton of different images, cached smaller versions of the images in order for all this stuff to be quickly loaded up in LaunchBox and BigBox. It generates things at the right sizes and puts them in here. And when you do refresh all images, all it does is clear out this cache folder. Doesn't do anything else with any of your other images. All it does is clear out the cache folder and repopulates them from the actual images, which are all located in the various platform folders. So that's what refresh all images does. And I showed you that earlier, I think, but I can show you that again. It's a simple process and it's risk-free. So we refresh all images, you'll notice that all the images disappear and then pop back in. That is something that you'll have to do occasionally if something is out of date. That's normal. The clean up images is something that I need to come back to and take a look at, revamp with the reorganization. That's a little bit, I will admit, that's a little bit more dangerous because what that is basically doing is it's going through all your games and checking all the relevant images and then going through and deleting everything that isn't being used by a game. So, and if we click that, you get a big warning here, and that things are going to be deleted. So, obviously, it doesn't do that without prompting you first. But this will go and delete images that are not being used by your games. So, if that's not something you want, you certainly don't want to run that process. All right, so Doughboy, wow. So when I upload my ROMs folder and I click use main metadata box, none of my games show up, but when I don't click it, they show up. Why is that? Upload my ROMs folder and click use the main metadata box. What? You know what? That might be an issue that we recently introduced. We cleaned up the MAME import, but I think maybe one thing that's happening is that because some of those Sega Model 2 games don't work well with MAME, they're not showing up. So yeah, that's something we need to address. Sorry about that, Doughboy. I've heard that from one other person so far. I think that's just since the last version we implemented. So I guess we'll have to come back to that. Maybe that's no longer a solution for us. OPAC is the issue that you don't have a credit card. Yeah, the warning is nice, but that's after the fact, which is why a tooltip would be nice. Agreed. Definitely. That makes sense. Before I click it, I don't know if that warning exists. That saves me. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you there. That makes a lot of sense. I agree. A tooltip would be good for that. Yeah, basically we revamped the main metadata imports for the last version, and I made it specific to MAME, I think is what happened, and so it no longer works that well for non-MAME games like Sega Model 2 like it did in the past. What do you mean you? What did you figure out, OPEC? Okay, so we want to add this clone tag to the data manager or the to games as a setting on game. That's for Bleasby for the rocket launcher plugin that he's working on for us. That should be simple. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and get that done here quick before we're done at 12:30 or in 25 minutes. We're going to simply add. Actually, I need to scroll up, not all the way down. Add another property called um, data table export public string clone of get set. Now in the constructor, I'm going to add string clone of, and then of course we set it. Okay. So it's that easy to add a new field to games called clone of. Obviously, that's not going to show up in the interface. I don't want it to show up in the interface. So I'm only going to be using that when importing main games so that we can save what the clone is um, across the board for games after they've been imported so that the Rocket Launcher plugin can check on that. Of course, I'm going to try and build this first, and we're going to get some errors because we changed the game constructor. Or maybe we won't. I'm not sure. We'll see. Keep the ROMs in the emulator folder. Oh, as far as MAME, yeah. MAME does have a particular configuration requirement where you have to keep the ROMs in the folder that you tell it it's going to be, which by default is inside the MAME emulator folder. Sure. Okay. So obviously, guys, I need to, um, and this is already planned, but I need to get back to importing for platforms like Sega Model 2 and other platforms where the ROM file names are mandated to be a custom and cryptic thing, other than the MAME arcade platform. We don't have a good solution for that right now. So that stuff that stuff is coming. I mean, you can manually set all that stuff up, but it's a pain in the butt, and you can't do it automatically on the import. So we'll I'll come back to that hopefully soon. That is high up on the list to get all the remaining platforms working as well as good as possible. All the problematic ones. Okay, so did we build? Yes, we built. No issues. That's great. So then, basically, we just have to refer to that field in the main imports. That's going to be under processes. It might be under working control, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure. There might be an external. Well, no, you can't rename those MAME files or those zip files. Depending on the emulator, it might not like it. And if I recall correctly, you don't want to rename those files for the Sega Model 2. Um, that's not a good idea because it gets information on what file it is from that file name. So FYI there. Excuse me. All right, so in our working control for our processes, this is really only for ROM imports for MAME. It's the only place we want to do this. And if it's MAME, we want to populate that field. So we start off and okay. Amy Movies downloads. Task.games.add. Okay. So this is just populating the downloads basically. Or is it? No problem, Doughboy. Get game is what's doing all this basically. Yeah, this generates all the game and the metadata and all that stuff. So if we go into this and here we are. If it's ROM task, now we're down to image. So where's the MAME stuff? When we set the title and the search, current block. Do we have any MAME in here? No, that figures. So where am I doing that? We're using we have movies downloads. We have task. ROM import operation. Okay, imported ROM. Where are we setting the title? Okay, that's Wikipedia. Oh, I see. Sure. Operation.name. But so maybe we set this stuff earlier on actually. The get game method. So our task has a field called maybe not. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble hunting this down. So maybe when we create our task, we need to do it. Let's find, let's go to import task, ROM import task. Where are we constructing this stuff? Fan art, down the front. Still don't have anything MAME related in here. There's something, there's a setting somewhere that specifies whether we're, maybe it's an import task. Okay, let's go all the way back to the wizard then, because I'm not finding it. Import games from files wizard form. Let's do a search for MAME. Force MAME titles. That's what I'm looking for. find all references. Okay. When we populate our ROMs, populate MAME ROMs. So yeah, all the MAME stuff is happening in here. If force MAME titles or the emulator title is MAME or starts with MAME, meaning if we're using MAME or forcing MAME, then we run this method called populate MAME ROMs. And when we populate the MAME ROMs, we okay, we got a list of files. We're going through paths. New list of string. Get all MAME file results. Sure. This returns a result of MAME file result. And MAME file result is this guy right here. And this is where we have our clone of that I'm looking for to copy over to the game. And this is also what does our filtering and all that stuff. So once we have our MAME file results, we have our clone information, MAME files. We loop through all of these. Okay. We have our dictionary of MAME file results, so we're adding these two. And we add it to the grid. Okay. And then somewhere we're going to be looping through this when we construct our stuff. So let's go to this definition. And then we go into MAME file results. Take a look at the references. It's where we construct it, where we add it, where we clear it. And then the keys, so import ROMs. This is where we construct our task. This is what I'm looking for. If this.MAME file results contains key file, then we add an operation, and we can take a look. We can use the MAME file results to specify whether it's a clone or not. So the ROM import operation, unfortunately, we have to add a field to that. So ROM import operation, that's under processes. We need another field in here called internal bool clone or internal string clone of. Get. We already have clone of. What on earth? Look at that. We're already feeding that over. Well, duh. Welcome, Jagger Roll. However you say that. Welcome. Okay, so why did I go through this whole process when it's already right there? I just I just run through that whole thing only to remember that it's already waiting for us. So anyways, close out of this, close out of this, close out of this, close out of import task, close out of ROM import task, and then we're into the working control. And ROM import background worker do work. This get game, we need the get game method. We go in here, and we're simply going to say that game dot clone of equals ROM operation dot clone of. That simple. That's all we needed to do after hunting all that stuff down. It's funny. Yep. Didn't know that was there, guys. Sorry. All right. So that should be ready. Obviously, I need to test that out, but that should fix things up for Bleasby for the clone tag. Then we have in the emulator configuration, he wants us to add a platform variable option to the emulator configuration so that you can specify, you can automatically feed the emulator into there. So I'll go ahead and do that coming up soon. It looks like the conversation's died down a little bit. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream for today. Appreciate all the feedback, guys, and everybody being here. And like I said, for the rest of the day, I'm going to be working on these items right here, and I should be able to wrap this stuff up, I hope, before the end of the day and have a new beta out for you guys, the first new beta for 6.3, and we will go from there. Again, thanks everybody, and I'm going to be putting out another LaunchBox Developer Sessions video for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on Monday otherwise. Thanks everybody. Take it easy. Later, guys. That's cool, Juggerroll. Well, welcome to the community. Glad to have you. Um, yeah, that's great to hear. So hit us up again, Juggerroll, on Monday at we stream from 9:30 to 12:30, 9:30 a.m. 12:30 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, PST. So have fun with that, and hit us up on the forums if you need any help or have any feedback for us. Take it easy, everybody. I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to give it a few seconds not to cut off the stream, but then I'm going to be signing off. Take it easy.